The xenobiology lab aboard the research station Kepler's Promise hummed with the sound of quantum processors analyzing terabytes of genetic data. Dr. Nyla Chen stood before the holographic display, her dark eyes scanning the double helix structures that rotated in the air before her. Beside her, Dr. Brian Okoye frowned at his tablet, cross-referencing the results for the third time. "This can't be right," Brian muttered, his fingers swiping through the data streams. "Run the comparison algorithm again." Nyla didn't take her eyes off the display. "I've run it 6 times already. The results are consistent." They had been tasked by the Galactic Council with a straightforward assignment: catalog the genetic predatory markers in humanity's DNA and compare them to the known apex predators across 47 worlds. It was routine work, part of humanity's application for advanced membership in the Council. Every species underwent the evaluation. Most had 3 to 5 predatory traits. The Xanthari, considered among the most dangerous species in the galaxy, had 17. The hologram before them showed humans had 29. "Look at this sequence here," Nyla said, highlighting a strand of code in blue. "Binocular, forward-facing vision with enhanced depth perception and motion tracking. That's standard for pursuit predators." "Agreed," Brian nodded. "The Krenth have that. The Yaluwu have that. Hell, even the Xanthari have that. Now look at this." She highlighted another section in red. "Endurance hunting capabilities. Thermoregulation through eccrine sweating, the ability to persistence hunt prey to exhaustion over distances exceeding 40 kilometers. Brian's jaw tightened. "No other species in the database has that." "That's trait number 18, Nyla continued, her voice taking on a clinical detachment that Brian recognized as her coping mechanism. "Unique to humans. Want to hear the other 11? The door to the lab hissed open. Commander Thexlar, their Xanthari liaison, entered on 4 powerful legs. His chitinous exoskeleton gleamed under the fluorescent lights, and his compound eyes fixed on the hologram. Despite having worked with Thexlar for 2 years, Brian still felt a primal unease around the 2-meter-tall insectoid. "Your findings." Texlar's translator rendered his clicking mandibles into flat, emotionless, galactic standard. Nyla gestured to the display. "We've completed the comparative analysis. The results are unexpected." "Explain." Brian took over, pulling up a split screen. On the left, the Xanthari genome. On the right, human. Your species has 17 predatory markers. Venom production, exoskeletal armor, compound eyes for 280-degree vision, pheromone tracking, and 13 others. You're classified as a Class A predator species. Correct. There was something approximating pride in Thexlar's tone. "Humans have all of those traits, or their functional equivalents," Nyla said quietly, "plus 12 more that appear nowhere else in the galactic database." The lab fell silent except for the hum of machines. Thexlar moved closer to the display, his antennae twitching. "Impossible. Humans are weak, no natural armor, no venom, no enhanced sensory apparatus beyond basic vision. That's what makes it fascinating," Brian said, warming to the science despite the implications. "Humans evolved compensatory mechanisms. Look at this trait, 22. Advanced pattern recognition and strategic planning. The human prefrontal cortex developed to simulate future scenarios and predict prey behavior up to 72 hours in advance." "Trap setting," Thexlar said softly. "Exactly. Trait 23. Complex collaborative hunting with division of labor and role specialization. Humans can coordinate hunting parties of over 100 individuals with hierarchical command structures." Nyla pulled up another sequence. "Trait 24 is particularly interesting. Humans possess what we call creative lethality, the ability to transform nearly any object or material in their environment into a weapon. This is encoded into spatial reasoning and tool use centers of the brain." "The Yalu have tool use," Thexlar countered. "The Yalu use tools they've designed over generations," Brian corrected. Humans can improvise lethal weapons from unfamiliar materials in novel environments within minutes. Watch. He played a video from Earth's history. A human hunter in a primitive setting encountering a large predator. Within seconds, the human had broken a branch, sharpened it against a rock, and driven it through the creature's skull. Trait 25, Nyla continued. Cognitive dissonance compartmentalization. Humans can form emotional bonds with individuals of a species while simultaneously hunting and consuming other members of that same species without psychological breakdown. Thexlar's mandibles clicked rapidly. Alarm. You bond with your prey? We domesticated them, Brian said. We kept them as companions while breeding and eating their relatives. Wolves became dogs. Aurochs became cattle. We turned apex predators and megafauna into our symbiotes and food sources. The Zenthari backed away from the display. What are the remaining 7 traits? Nyla's fingers moved through the hologram, highlighting sequences in crimson. Trait 26. Transgenerational knowledge transfer through complex language and symbolic representation. We teach our young to hunt, using abstract concepts and written instruction. Trait 27. Omnivorous digestive capacity with rapid adaptation to novel proteins. Humans can consume and derive nutrition from nearly any organic matter across multiple trophic levels. Trait 28. Adrenaline-modulated strength reserves. In crisis scenarios, humans can temporarily exceed normal physical limitations by up to 400%. Trait 29. Psychological warfare capabilities. Humans can instill fear, demoralize opponents, and induce submission through symbolic display and threat without physical confrontation. Brian brought up the final comparison chart. But here's what concerns me most, Commander. Every predatory species in the database uses their traits for survival, for food, territory, reproduction. Humans are the only species that display recreational hunting behavior. Recreational? Thexlar's translator couldn't hide the confusion. They hunt when not hungry, Nyla said. For sport, for trophies, for entertainment. It's encoded in our play behavior from childhood. Human children simulate hunting in their games. Thexlar stood motionless for a long moment. What are your recommendations for the Council? Nyla and Brian exchanged glances. Finally, Brian spoke. Humanity should be reclassified from Category B sentient species to Category A apex predator species with a unique designation. We recommend advanced membership be granted, but with behavioral monitoring protocols. You're recommending we approve your own species? Thexlar asked. Yes, Nyla said firmly, because the alternative is worse. Humanity knows what it is now. We've seen the data. Denial would only prove we lack the self-awareness necessary for Council membership. Acceptance means we can consciously choose to channel these traits toward cooperation rather than conquest. Thexlar turned toward the door, then paused. The Zenthari have ruled this quadrant for 6,000 years because we are the most dangerous species in known space. That was true until today. His compound eyes fixed on them both. I will recommend approval, and I will recommend we never give you a reason to hunt us. After he left, Brian let out a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. That went better than expected. Nyla stared at the genetic data still rotating before her. 29 predatory traits, glowing in the darkness of the lab, like warning signs on a dangerous road. Maybe, she said quietly. Or maybe we just showed our hand too early. Outside the viewport, Earth hung in space, a blue marble that had spawned the galaxy's most efficient predator. And somewhere in the ancient code of human DNA, the hunt continued.